Hello, we are almost closing in on our crowd motion path toolsets. In this lesson, we'll be learning about the crowd motion path arcing layers tool. This is especially useful if you have some creatures or animals in your scene. What this node does is every time your character turns either left or right, it'll transition to another animation and make your turns look even more realistic. So to demonstrate this, I'm using another character imported from Mixamo. I'm also importing a run cycle for it. To create the turn cycles, I'm using the KineFX motion clip workflow, where I'm tilting my character to the right every time he turns left, and every time he turns right, he'll be tilting towards the left. So we can clearly see the difference between the three cycles: the run cycle, the run left cycle, and the run right. So now we want to create a logic where every time our character turns left, the run left cycle gets triggered, and every time our character turns right, the run right cycle gets triggered. So let's take a new geo node. I'll call this crowd motion path arcing layer. Let's dive inside it and take a new object merge. I'll select my agent. In the crowd source node, I'll scatter only 5 points this time and take a relaxed radius of 1. Let's take a crowd motion path node. I'll assign my run clip. I'll give it a random clip offset as well as some random clip speed. So to get a better sense of the turns that we'll be creating, let's take a crowd motion path follow node. And I'll take a curve node and I'll draw a zigzag curve across our agent paths. Connect it to the third input. Connect my crowd motion path follow. Let's take a resample, and in the treat polygons as, I'll set it to subdivision curves. So this will smooth out our turns. Now, in the motion path follow, I can increase the distance variance as well as the smoothing. Now let's take a crowd motion path arcing layer node. Connect it under the crowd motion path follow. In the base clip name, I'll set it to run. Let's visualize it and turn on the turn rate attribute. I'll click on the visualize button. So we can see that every time our character turns left, the color of a curve turns to red. And every time our character turns right, the color of our curve is purple. So we can increase the smoothing to smooth out this transition. I'll also reduce the filter quality to get even smoother transitions. For our turn direction set to left, Let's use the run left cycle. So you can see every time our character turns left, it has a bit of a tilt towards the right, which makes our character turn look more organic. Now let's do the same thing for our right turn. Duplicate the crowd motion path arcing layer node and connect it below. We can switch the turn direction to right and clip name to run right. Let's add some smoothing to both our turns. And if we now play it, we can see that both our cycles are working correctly. To visualize it better, I'll just turn off the LOD agent reduction in the viewport settings by pressing D on the viewport and going to Optimize tab. Now, to close this off, we can put a crowd motion path evaluate node as well as our out crowd null. Again, we can bring it back into stage and see how easy it is to connect any of our crowd setups and make them render ready. So that's it for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll be incorporating another great feature introduced in Houdini 21, which is the ability to use agent relationships with the crowd motion part toolset. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.